so we can just go ahead. I'm gonna play one more mission and call it a night. Except nuclear bombs are way more devastating. And that person is your sister. You're an ass even to your own sister. It's nice that it's consistent how they don't like each other. I should have talked to the operator because I think I get the simulator data from her. Not that it's important since I'm not using the simulator, but it's there if you want it. Whenever you see an operator option to talk to, usually they have a simulator data. Which unlocks stuff for you to use when you want to grind up levels. Of course, spying is all well and good, but it won't be that simple. It's called... It's something that happens on old games, Vic. It's called Z fighting or something like that. It's when the place where two textures align, if they as the perspective shifts, they clip through each other, and it looks like vibrations. Z fighting, I think that's what the term for it is. It makes textures look like they're vibrating and shaking and deforming. Yeah. There's a lot of those things when you... They weren't so visible when we played this originally on an old TV because at 480p, I mean, it's not really visible, but now that we have HD monitors and everything, and the emulator is stretching it out and scaling it properly, more importantly, it's more visible. And because on this game in particular, because they put so many details on the 3D models, there's also a lot of clipping and a lot of Z fighting where pieces of the texture just disappear. It couldn't be avoided, really. If I remember correctly, PlayStation wasn't as advanced graphically as Nintendo 64 was, if I remember correctly. But you could do more with it. And From Mission 3 is one of the examples of what you could do with it. The amount of detail you could do with the 3D models programmed for PlayStation is just higher, and the textures are crisper than they are on Nintendo 64. Nintendo 64 had to, well, they didn't have to, but they did. The textures looked like blurred up, and the shadings were off, while PlayStation textures are more pixelated, but they are cleaner. They look better. At least to me. It could be my personal bias. We got the data, we need to run. Yes, we are. Obviously, we are. Nothing much as we deal with here. A melee guy, a tank, and a couple of more tanks, and a scout car. I would actually prefer to deal with the melee guy at range, so I'm gonna let him get close first, and I'm gonna deal with you. And then Ryogo is gonna finish him off. And that's one attacker less. Now, Vic, keep in mind that I might be incorrect about this, but the reason why PlayStation, like I said, the reason why PlayStation was so successful is because it was very easy to program for, and because it was cheaper to program for it, because it used CDs and not cartridges. And that just made developers go for it because they could do it more easily than they could for Nintendo. But keep in mind that oh my god, really got stunned. Nintendo 64 didn't come with a development kit or anything like that, but PlayStation did have a development kit. It was called Netya Rose. It was a fully black, and it is a fully black PS1, which was used to program your own games, and you could do that. You could program your own games if you have a Netya Rose. Oh, that's a miss. Crap. I'm not focused very much. Sucks. Just taking blows. If you want an example of completely opposite directions when it comes to cooperation with developers, you know Star Fox. Well, the developers of Star Fox, because they didn't have a development kit for Nintendo, what they had to do is they created an impromptu development kit by hacking, I believe it was a Tetris cartridge, and just modifying it so that they can use it to program a game. A completely different approach than Sony. Sony made it possible for everybody to, if they wanted to make a game, they gave them all the resources they needed for it. Excellent. I might need to fix you if you survive all this. Well, yeah, because programming for a console and programming for PC are two different things. That's why that's to this day, when you have a port from console to PC and vice versa, it can go 50 ways sideways because it's a different thing. Okay, you are ejected. And in the early days of gaming, you pretty much relied on the hardware you had to make something. He was ejected into the truck, and now he won't be able to leave the truck, so we will have a truck. Yeah, I can steal the tank, I just won't. I can steal the tank, yeah, but it has 137 hit points. If it gets hit by anything, it's gonna die. And you managed to miss. Wonderful. No, I can't take it on future missions. Vehicles can be stolen, but you can't deploy them and you can't use them or collect them, unfortunately. But you know what? I will take the tank if I survive this shot. I didn't survive this shot. And this death is completely just because I was stunned for 3 turns. Well, not for 3 turns, but because I was stunned. Oh, in one of my playthroughs, I did, whenever I had an opportunity to, that's a miss. Whenever I had an opportunity to steal a vehicle, I would steal a vehicle. And this guy has no scripting for a truck, so he's not moving at all. And I found out that vehicles are seldom really useful, because they're more fragile than a wanzer. If they have missiles though, they can be used as a missiler, and some of the wanzers have really powerful missile launchers. But other than that, it's not really worth it. I'm not really gonna reload a missile for this. You missed. How could you miss? As I was saying, the way that the games were developed in the early times of the consoles is you pretty much depended on the developer of the console to give you a development kit. And the only people who would be getting a development kit are the developers that were under contract or purchased a license for it. It's like game engines today. If you want to use the Unreal Engine, you can, you just buy it. Well, for consoles with development kits. And Nintendo didn't give its development kit to anybody. Only if they were contracted to make a game for them. It was a platinum, by the way, even with the Lost wanzer. Sony went the other way. Sony said, look, this is a Net Rose, this is a development kit. You want to make a console game on our console, here's all the tools you need, go ahead and do it. Which is also why there were over 400 games, actually no, there were over 1,000 games made for PlayStation 1. Of course, many of them are crap. But still. Okay.